Book 1, Part 2, Skywalker Strikes. On the heels of its greatest victory against the evil Galactic Empire, the destruction of the Death Star, the Rebel Alliance is pushing its advantage. Princess Leia Organa has led a covert team in an attack on Simoon 1, possibly the largest weapons factory in the entire Empire. Posing as emissaries from an Outer Rim crime syndicate, they gained access and planted charges. Unfortunately, the fully automated factory also contains a number of innocent slave workers. Now the rebels race to escape with the freed slaves before the factory is destroyed, a task made far more difficult by the arrival of Sith Lord Darth Vader on the moon.
Hey Web World, Scotty D, thanks for stopping by. Did you like what I did to the intro? I hope you did, because I had a lot of fun playing around with the scroll, because the brand new Marvel Star Wars comic series has a full page image of what we know on the big screen as being the Star Wars scroll, and I'm doing air quotes, I don't know why. Anyways, I wanted to kind of incorporate that into the intro and kind of play around with it, so I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, and if you didn't like it, I don't know what to tell you, because it's now in the video, and yeah. Anyways, comment below, let me know what you think about it. Before we jump into the review and first thoughts around Marvel Star Wars number 2, let me show you a variant that I recently added into my collection. This is the variant right here. I am both humbled and honored to have this in my collection right now, and I have to thank owner and good friend Dave Bishop of Big Bang Comics and Collectibles for making this comic available for me to add to my collection, because this is not just any variant. This is the premier variant. I hope it's coming into clarity there on the camera. There we go. Premier variant. And why is this so special? Well, one, the cover's different. You have black and white over here and color over there. But this variant is the premier variant, which means it was sent out to retailers and local comic shop owners well before the actual number 1 was shipped and allowed to be on the shelves for you and I to purchase. So retailers and local comic shop owners who got this were able to preview the comic well before we did and read the story and really engross themselves into the new Marvel Star Wars universe. What makes this very, very special to me is when these premiere variants were sent out to local comic shops, they were addressed directly to the local comic shops. And I don't mean just on the label of the shipment. I'm talking about inside of the book itself. Inside of this cover, there's a letter that's addressed directly to my local comic shop, Big Bang Comics and Collectibles. Let me show you what it looks like. This is the letter right here. What I did is I got it home, very carefully opened up the first page, took a picture of the letter on the inside of the page, printed it out. It actually fills the entire page so that I can read it without having the book open too long. I didn't want to mess with the book, because this book is very rare for Big Bang Comics and Collectibles, because only 2 were sent. I own one of them. The owner of the LCS, Dave Bishop, has the other. So this is a very unique book in my collection. My entire collection is an heirloom, but this one is one that specifically stands out as being very, very unique and very special to me. And again, I have to thank Dave Bishop of Big Bang Comics and Collectibles for allowing this book to be in my collection. Thank you so very much. Now let's get on to the comic review before I get all sappy over this thing. So cool. Check that out. Premier variant. 1 of 2. And I have one of them. Now, of course, other local comic shops and retailers may have theirs, but I have one of the 2 that were sent to Big Bang Comics and Collectibles. Very, very cool. So here we are with Star Wars number 2. That's what you came here to see me give a review on. Here is the standard cover. There were a couple of variants available. I couldn't get excited about any of them, to be honest. So I just went with the standard cover. This is in my poll that I get every month. Now let me show you what's really crazy about this book. In correlation to the storyline and mindset of the new series, remember, this is to take place between A New Hope and Empire. So if you think back to the original Marvel Star Wars run, A New Hope ends after book 6. And then the EU starts at book 7 until you reach the books that are the adaptation of Empire. So book number 1 would be book number 7 in correlation to the original series. And this one would be just in the same place as book number 8. So here's book number 2. Let me show you book number 8. Take a look at that. Crazy. Now, this one right here is canon. This one, I hope you can see my finger pointing. This one right here is not. And what's more mind-boggling is that this one right here, I've never been able to accept other than being a joke of a cover because of the character that's on it. Jackson, the green humanoid rabbit. I've never been able to take that character seriously. I think, in my opinion, it looks like an afterthought and a joke and almost like a precursor to Jar Jar Binks. It stands out that bad to me in the storyline. Thank goodness it's EU. I know I probably upset some people there, but in my opinion, thank goodness it's EU because it doesn't look like it belongs anywhere in the Star Wars universe. But that's my opinion. You're entitled to yours. And if you'd like to address that in the comments, I'd be more than happy to address Jackson, the green humanoid rabbit. Anyways, this is a book that is canon, which I'm very happy about. All of the new Disney, Marvel, Star Wars comics are canon. And after you get past the first page, you get to the scroll, which I showed at the very beginning of this video. And I love this in this series. It truly puts my mind into a theater watching mode as the story plays out on the big screen. And that's the way that I read these books. It's almost as if I'm visually imagining the story of the comic on a big screen. It really sets you in a mood when you're starting to read. So I really like the scroll at the very beginning. The book jumps directly into the action that ended, but not at the end of book one. If you remember, at the end of book one, Vader and Luke are about to go saber to saber. And I like how they picked up the action immediately in book two from where book one left off. So kudos to the writers and the artist for that one. And this is a great writing and storyboard talent to keep things flowing from book to book. And something I felt was lacking in the original Marvel Star Wars series. You know, when you went from book 7 to book 8 to book 9 to book 10, each book almost felt like it was its own story. You know, at some points in time, there were runs of books in the original 107 that I felt, wow, yeah, I feel like the books are connected. And I know that they were intended to be, but in some respects, some of the books felt very disjointed from each other. I don't feel that from the new Marvel Star Wars series. And I still don't like how they drew Vader. Oh, I just can't get past it. The way that they've drawn his outfit and his helmet just don't look right to me. They look flat, smushed. There's something about it that I just do not like. And but I do like this. I like the fact that they gave some back discussion about Obi-Wan Kenobi in the first couple of pages in this book. And what I like about that is it's a great storyline tie-in for this book to being part of the canon. You can feel it being connected with each other. So I really appreciated that from both the writers and the artist as they captured each moment. And you're like, wow, they're talking about Obi-Wan already? So it felt like it was an extension of A New Hope, at least to me. I really appreciated that. Now, since Luke's not yet fully a trained Jedi yet, based on the canon as the statuses of the canon as of this book, where it's supposed to be in the storyline, he's not yet a full Jedi Knight yet. So his training hasn't been completed with Yoda, and because of that, I'm a little surprised that Vader, in this book, when he makes a comment, that Vader's comment and demand couldn't sway Luke's mind easier. Now, I know that Luke has strong midichlorians and he's going to be a Jedi, so you take that into consideration because we kind of know already. But knowing where this is supposed to be at in the storyline, Luke's not fully trained yet. His powers aren't tuned yet and refined yet. So I felt that Vader should have been able to manipulate Luke's mind just a little bit more and maybe kind of a I don't want to say a mind fight, but at least some sort of a a back and forth a little bit for at least a cell or two about trying to get into Luke's mind, to manipulate him, to get him to do what Vader's asking him to do. So, but they don't, and the story just moves on. So that was one part of the book that I was like, really? I felt like they could have did a little bit more with that section, but it was a good section nonetheless, and they kept the story rolling on very, very well. And the scene right after that, I feel, is a cut scene. They jump right to a different area of action in the storyline, and that story cut scene is the Walker's rescue, where Han and Leia are in the Walker, and it's done very well. And the writing is done well with the raw personality of Solo and Leia, and you can feel it in the words on the paper. And the artwork also keeps your eyes very, very busy as you take in all the cells and all the action taking place. And this continues for a few pages. I mean, your eyes jumping around, and you're like, wow, there's a lot of stuff going on here. And in fact, I went back and I've read this comic at least 4 times now. And when I get to that section of the book in the story, I still find my eyes jumping around all over the place. A very, very nice, action-packed few pages of that portion of the storyline. And things happen so fast here that if it were on a big screen in a movie, it would probably be no more than 30 to 45 seconds of action. But it happens so well in the book that it just grabs you and pulls you in on those few pages. And then we have C-3PO. He graces us in the pages of this book once again, and you remember from book 1 where we left him off, he was inside of the Millennium Falcon, the locals were there pillaging the parts and whatever they could take from the Millennium Falcon. Well, in this book, he gets an order from Princess Leia to do whatever it takes to get the Millennium Falcon back under control and get it to them so they can get themselves out of this mess that they're in. And I really appreciated that the fact that he's very eloquent and articulate in his conversation, but he's clumsy. He's a very, very clumsy robot in the Star Wars universe. And I found myself at times smiling and almost laughing at some of the parts in the story on how they kept C-3PO's persona, his movements, his personality, very accurate to the canon that we know of at this point in the storyline. And I appreciated that because the original Marvel Star Wars run back in the 70s and 80s had C-3PO very much out of character at times, I felt. And it was like, really? That's not how 3PO is. And I appreciated that as the new series is starting, they're keeping everybody true to what we know about them and their personality and their characters. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much on that. I really liked seeing the speeder bike showing up in this book. Now, some people argue that it's too early to show the speeder bike, but I think that it's a direct way to tie this new series into the overall canon. Because if you think that the speeder bikes were brand new on Jedi and they never existed before that, I doubt it very seriously. If you thought about that in perspective to the overall Star Wars universe, these speeder bikes have been around a long time. And to show it in this book was a great way to tie in this book to Return of the Jedi for vehicle continuity, as well as being able to see the walkers. Because think about it, the walkers didn't appear until Empire, but we're seeing them before Empire, which means that they've been around for a long time as well in the canon storyline. So I appreciate both of those aspects of this book, showing the walkers and the speeder bikes, tying all aspects of episodes 4, 5, and 6 together, showing that this is truly part of the canon. And the action continues with the walkers. And there's a scene where the walker is versing Vader. I really like that scene. In fact, there's a blaster scene where the walker is finally activating its blasters and they shoot down on Vader. And that one cell is probably my favorite piece of artwork in this book right here. And pay close attention in that cell to the lightsaber. I'm not going to spoil too much on this, but pay close attention to the lightsaber because it's in that scene that you'll understand how Luke will get it back quickly later on in the story. And the book closes out as quickly as it started. I felt like it only took a few minutes to read this book. It probably took 15, 20 minutes, but it only felt like a few minutes. It happened so fast. The action was so intense in this book that it felt very, very speedy in the delivery of the artwork and the storyline in this book. There's a cliffhanger on the back of this book, just like we've seen in book number 1, that hopefully, if done well, at book 3, it's going to tie book 2 and 3 together very well. Just like we've seen at the very beginning of this book 2, tying very closely and very accurately and very well done to the ending of book 1. So I appreciated the cliffhanger at the back end of this book. So take a look at this book. This is Marvel Star Wars number 2. Number 3 in the set is set to hit the shelves of your local and favorite LCS on March 11th, 2015. Make sure you get this in your pull. If you're not a fan of Star Wars, give it a try again. I ask you just to be open-minded and give Star Wars a try again. If you are a diehard Star Wars fan like I am, you're into this. This is cool stuff right here. So, I hope you liked the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. If you didn't, I don't know what to tell you, because it's my opinion, it's my thoughts, it's not yours. And so anyways, give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Don't forget to comment below. I love when people comment in my video threads comment area, because I interact back with you. So comment below on this video. Let me know what you thought about this book yourself. Did you read it? Is it in your pull? What do you think about it? Don't forget, if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please do so. All you have to do is go to the main YouTube channel page for my YouTube channel, click on the subscribe icon. Then go to the right of that, click on the gear icon, and enable updates. I think that's what it's called. That's going to allow you to be notified every time that I produce and publish a brand new video here on my channel. Other than that, it's anybody's guess what's going to happen. So please do that. And if you already are subscribed to my channel, thank you so very much. If you want to drop me an email, the email address is scott@scottydonline.com. The Twitter feed is @scottydonline. Hit me up over there as well. And as always, if you want to become more than a channel subscriber, you can kick it up a notch and become a channel patron. Patreon.com/ScottyDOnline. And hey, one more piece of advice for you. Are you a hardcore comic book fan, collector? Are you beyond the amateur collector, hobbyist, and you want to hang out with other people who are like you? Then there's a group that I want you to check out on Facebook. It's the Facebook Comic Book Curator Group. I almost forgot how to say that, and it's a group that I'm a member of. Comic Book Curator Group on Facebook. The link is here on the screen somewhere. It's also in the video description below. So again, I hope you like this video. Thumbs up, comment, share, subscribe, tell everybody about it. Until the next comic book review video, be careful, stay good to each other. We'll see you next time, Web World. May the Force be with you.